The scorching afternoon sun blazed down on the busy streets of downtown Riverton, where people hurried by without noticing the man sitting quietly on the edge of a sidewalk bench. His name was Caleb Turner, a 36-year-old single father with tired eyes and calloused hands to strangers. He looked like another struggling man trying to make ends meet. But behind that calm exterior was a past he had buried deep, a past filled with danger, precision, and skill. Caleb was once one of the top tactical instructors for a private security agency. Now he washed dishes at a small cafe, scraping together enough to raise his 9-year-old daughter, Maya, after his wife passed away 3 years ago. That day began like any other. Caleb finished his shift, changed into his worn-out gray hoodie, and picked up Maya from school. As they walked toward the bus stop, laughter filled the air, a rare sound in their small world. Caleb didn't know that in a few minutes, his hidden past would come crashing back to life. Before we dive deeper into Caleb's story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, please take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us share more inspiring stories like this one. Just as Caleb and Maya were waiting for the bus, a sleek black SUV screeched to a stop in front of the nearby Riverton Plaza. People screamed as masked men jumped out, grabbing a woman in a white blazer. Her purse hit the ground, scattering papers everywhere. Caleb's eyes instantly caught the glint of a weapon. One of the men held a stun gun. Without hesitation, his instincts kicked in. He told Maya to hide behind the bench and stay down. The kidnappers forced the woman into the SUV, but one of them noticed Caleb watching. The man pointed at him and shouted. Caleb sprinted forward, his old training taking over, ducking low and sweeping one attacker's legs from under him. He grabbed a loose steel pipe from the street and used it to disarm another before they could react. Chaos erupted. The SUV door slammed, trying to speed off, but Caleb hurled the steel pipe into the rear wheel, causing the vehicle to lose balance and crash into a lamppost just ahead. The woman crawled out, trembling. The men fled in panic. Caleb rushed to her side, checking her pulse and pulling her to safety. Sirens wailed in the distance as security guards and bystanders gathered. The woman looked up at him with wide, shocked eyes. Who are you?" she whispered. Caleb simply said, "Just a dad trying to protect his daughter's future." Her name was Evelyn Ross, the CEO of Rostec Industries, one of the city's leading technology firms. She was on her way to a confidential meeting when the attack happened. Evelyn was known in the corporate world as brilliant, but distant, someone who trusted numbers more than people. But that day, a stranger's selfless courage shattered her walls of isolation. When the police arrived, Caleb refused attention or praise. He gave his statement quietly and took Maya's hand to leave. But Evelyn couldn't shake the image of him, the calm precision, the strength, and the way he comforted his daughter even after the chaos. Later that evening, as she sat in her glass-walled penthouse overlooking the city, she found herself searching for the man who saved her. 2 days later, Caleb returned home from work to find a black car parked outside his small apartment building. A driver in a suit handed him an envelope. Inside was a note: "Mr. Turner, I owe you my life. Meet me tomorrow 9 a.m. Rostec headquarters. Evelyn Ross." Caleb didn't want attention. He was a humble man who avoided the spotlight. But something about the letter, the honesty in its tone, made him go. He put on his cleanest shirt, held Maya's hand, and took the bus downtown. When they reached the towering glass building, the receptionist looked surprised. Few people ever walked in with worn shoes and a child by their side. Evelyn personally came down to greet him. For someone always surrounded by bodyguards, she looked strangely at ease. She thanked Caleb again and insisted he come to her office. Maya sat quietly in a corner, coloring while Evelyn asked about his life. When she learned he'd been laid off from his security job and had been doing odd work to support his daughter, something inside her softened. She offered him a job, not out of pity, but respect. "You have a gift, Caleb. I could use someone like you to train our executive protection team," she said. Caleb hesitated. It had been years since he touched a weapon or wore a tactical vest. But when Maya looked up at him with hope in her eyes, he agreed. Over the next few weeks, Caleb worked at Rostec, transforming the company's entire security division. His leadership was calm but firm. The staff admired his quiet discipline. Evelyn watched him often, not out of curiosity but out of admiration. She noticed how he carried pain with grace, how every decision he made centered around his daughter's happiness. One evening, as the sun set behind the tall buildings, Evelyn invited Caleb and Maya to dinner at her private residence. It was the first time Maya had laughed so freely since her mother's passing. Evelyn noticed the light returning to Caleb's face. After dinner, they sat on the balcony overlooking the city. Evelyn spoke softly, telling Caleb that she'd been living alone for years, too busy building her empire to notice how empty her life had become. Caleb listened quietly, offering simple words of comfort that felt more genuine than anything she'd heard in boardrooms or conferences. But peace didn't last long. A week later, while Caleb was training security's staff late at night, he got a distress call. Evelyn's car had been ambushed again on a remote road outside the city. The same group of kidnappers had returned, seeking revenge. Without waiting for backup, Caleb jumped into his car and sped into the night. When he reached the scene, gunfire echoed through the dark woods. His instincts returned full force. Using the terrain, he moved silently, disabling the attackers one by one using non-lethal tactics, swift, calculated, precise. When he reached Evelyn, she was tied inside the car, struggling to breathe. Caleb broke the lock and carried her out, shielding her body with his as police sirens blared in the distance. As paramedics treated Evelyn, she held his hand tightly. "You could have been killed," she whispered through tears. Caleb simply said, "I couldn't lose another person I care about." Those words struck something deep in her heart. After that night, Evelyn didn't just see Caleb as her rescuer. She saw him as someone who embodied everything she'd lost: compassion, courage, family. Slowly, she became a part of their small world. She visited Maya's school events, brought over groceries, and helped with homework. For the first time, the powerful CEO began to smile without reason. Months passed. Caleb's position at Rostec grew, and so did their bond. Yet he remained humble, never expecting more than what life offered. One bright afternoon, during a company event honoring his bravery, Evelyn took the stage. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke to the hundreds gathered. "Some heroes wear suits," she said, looking at Caleb in the front row. "But real heroes wear humility and carry their love for others like armor." Then, to everyone's surprise, she announced a scholarship fund in his late wife's name to support single parents pursuing careers in safety and security. Caleb was speechless. Tears welled in his eyes as Maya hugged him tightly. Evelyn smiled, whispering, "You didn't just save me, Caleb. You reminded me what it means to live for something real." In that moment, the applause faded into the background. What mattered most wasn't the recognition or the money. It was the quiet understanding between two people who had both lost something precious and found new strength in each other. Caleb continued his work, training others, raising Maya, and helping Evelyn build community programs for underprivileged families. Every morning, when he looked at his daughter laughing with Evelyn, he realized that sometimes fate doesn't take things away. It only rearranges them so that something even more beautiful can take their place. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in second chances, bravery, and the kindness that still exists in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kidnappers Journal. Every click helps us share real human stories that inspire hope. Special request, comment below. I believe in kindness and second chances, to remind the world that goodness still matters. Because one act of courage can change a life, and sometimes save one too.